Alright, quick update for NEAR. So we have a ton of selling volume stepping in right now. And I talked about this in yesterday's video when we were coming up into these EMA ribbons. I told you that in my opinion, for the next couple of days, for your altcoins and for NEAR specifically, I think we are going to be chopping around in a range. Now, one very interesting thing that I do see on the chart right now is we are setting up a perfect inverse head and shoulders, but here is where the problem comes in. The Federal Reserve meeting that I've been talking about is taking place between the 3rd and the 4th. By the time that's happened, this inverse head and shoulder is either going to have broken out or it's going to have to be invalidated. And I don't like those odds because, you know, we can't just trend sideways until the 4th and do something like this, because that is not going to be a very appetizing head and shoulders. It's going to look very, very messed up. So I do not personally think that this inverse head and shoulders will be playing out for a plethora of reasons. Like I said, we drew this green box a couple of days ago when we came into it based on a few levels of support that we're running off. And we were saying, you know, in my opinion, there's going to be a lot of chop coming in the next couple of days. That's basically what I said. I said it's going to be a boring week for NEAR. We're going to be waiting for this Federal Reserve meeting to come. Once it is done, we should have confidence returning to the market. In my opinion, confidence has exited the crypto market and the stock market while this Fed meeting is coming. You can see Bitcoin is downtrending. The stock market, if you look at the top right of my screen, is breaking down. You've got blue chip stocks like Facebook, Tesla, Coinbase, completely landsliding. So I don't think we should expect anything different with NEAR. At this moment in time, this is really where you'd want to see the inverse head and shoulders break out. If you did want some hopium, the neckline is $11.90. Like I said, I would not be trading before the Federal Reserve meeting. I think it could definitely be very, very dangerous to try and front run the market, because in case the Federal Reserve says something outlandish, in case they're going to cut or in case they're going to, you know, mess up the interest rates, we don't know what's going to be said. We don't know what's going to be going on at the Federal Reserve meeting yet. So I definitely think we should sit on the sidelines and wait for it to be done. That is basically all I've got to say on NEAR. You can see that we are trying to regain some bullish momentum while we are accumulating to the side. But if we do look at your momentum indicators, we've only recently come into your 4-hourly EMA and got a pretty harsh rejection. On your daily time frame, you can see 200 EMA and 200-day moving average recently rejected from. If we also look, the daily EMA ribbons have fired bearish for NEAR. So like I said, while this inverse head and shoulders looks like it wants to play out, I think it would be very, very dangerous to take it. The last time we saw a daily EMA flip, we were consolidating around this region. We had a fake out up to the EMAs and a breakdown. So do not be surprised if NEAR in the short term has that move. If we go back to your daily time frame, if we have that move, you could see inverse head and shoulders break up to potentially $13.55, and then we could see that, you know, solidify as a rejection point as we move down lower. The point is, there's a lot of variables coming into this right now. We've not only got to worry about the price action with NEAR, but we've also got to worry about what Bitcoin's doing. We've got to worry about what the stock market's doing. We've got to worry about what the dollar's doing, because the dollar's going into price discovery. We've got to worry about the Federal Reserve meeting within the next 2 days. So there's a lot of variables that can swing this in some way that none of us can predict. Obviously, we can't predict news that hasn't come out yet. So I feel like we should wait. We should at least try and scrap one of those variables, being the Federal Reserve meeting. I do believe confidence will soon enter the market after that. And, you know, you can see NEAR is trying to push itself back up right now. But like I said, for a plethora of reasons, by the 4th, right here, you see this is where we should get a wrap-up of the Federal Reserve meeting. That is when I personally plan on hopping back in the altcoin market, depending on how the altcoins react. You can also see the bottom of this accumulation range is your absolutely last line in the sand in terms of your most recent Fibonacci. If we draw from the most recent macro uptrend, you can also see, you know, we could be fair to it and draw down to here because you've got a 786 Fibonacci. That would technically be your last line in the sand. Coming down to the 4-hour, you really would not like to see a break below $10.12. If we do, could get very, very diabolical. So that's all I've got for NEAR. Bear in mind, You know, if we look at NEAR and we focus on its oscillators, if we look at the money flow indicator and the relative strength index, they're completely oversold right now. So while I am saying I don't think now's the best time to DCA, I do think the best time to DCA could be round the corner after we've finished up this Fed meeting. It could get more ugly before the Fed meeting. We could dump into it and pump out of it, which is why I'm sitting on the sidelines with my fiat, with Bitcoin, and I'm looking to get cheaper rates for these altcoins if we do enter a panic before the Fed meeting. Also, to wrap up the video, if we look at the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves, I know this is not near, but however, if we look at Bitcoin's logarithmic growth curves, we're down at your absolutely lowest fib right now. There is only one level down below this, and it's one deviation oversold at 32,000. Historically, that one deviation oversold has always been the bottom for Bitcoin, apart from this one time where we momentarily went below it. So what does that mean? Why should you care that Bitcoin is at its lower logarithmic bound? Well, you should care because it means that the bottom, in my opinion at least, and in the opinion of the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves, the bottom is in / the bottom is near. So if we look at what's going on in correlation with near, you can also see your oscillators are completely oversold. So we could definitely see that increase in volume, increase in buying, return into the market. Bear in mind, near's already been on quite an extravagant rally within the past year or so. So in the greater time frames, there is more room for us to come down. You can see your oscillators are sitting pretty much at that not break even, rather they're sitting at pretty much that neutral area. But lower time frames are calling for a move, even a move to the upside, even if it is a dead cat bounce. This would tie in with the theory that the 4-hourly inverse head and shoulders are going to break out. We're going to come up and get rejected from your 1 daily EMAs, and then we could come down and break back down again. This would be something very similar to what happened in this region over here. I'm personally not betting on any type of moves right now for near. Like I said, there's a lot of variables coming into the Fed meeting. I'm going to wait until the 3rd and the 4th, and then I think, you know, it would be a safe time to re-enter the market. Bear in mind, if you're a long-term near fan, and I do believe near is a good project as well, then, you know, to you it should not necessarily matter whether you DCA at, you know, $12 or $13 after a breakout, or if you DCA at $11. The trend is your friend until the end. We're in a huge downtrend to the downside right now. So I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines. Let me know what you're doing. I'll let you know what near decides to do. But yeah, like I said, you can see vertical line right here is when the Fed meeting is. I will be sitting on the sidelines until then, as there is a ton of selling volume in and a bunch of somewhat worrying signals as we're on our last legs. That's all I've got for near. As always, cowboy out, not financial advice. Peace.